Hi, I am Gerald Munes. I will discuss to you the part of the chapter 16, which is the tactics in choosing the policy instrument. Central banks directly controls the three tools of monetary policy, which are the open market operation, the reserve requirements, and the discount rate. To examine whether the monetary policy is easy or tight, we can observe the policy instrument, or what we call the operating instrument. This policy instrument is a variable that responds to the central bank's tools and indicates the extent, if easy or tight, of monetary policy. A central bank, like the Fed, has disposal two types of policy instruments, which are the reserve aggregate and the interest rate. The reserve aggregate is a total reserves, the non-borrowed reserves, the non-monetary base, and the non-borrowed base, while the interest rate is the federal funds rate and other short-term interest rates. The policy instrument also could be linked to an intermediate target such as a monetary aggregate like the long-term interest rate. And the intermediate target in turn is closely linked to the goals of monetary policy such as price stability, the employment, and the economic growth. As the study aid, figure 2 shows a schematic of the linkages between the tools of monetary policy instruments, intermediate targets, and the goals of monetary policy. This is the figure 2. So this is a figure 2, the linkages between the central bank's tools, policy instruments, intermediate targets, and goals of monetary policy. The tools of a central bank are used to change the policy instruments to achieve intermediate target and then the goals of monetary policy. So this is the format. The tools of central bank. This is the open market operation, like I said earlier, the discount policy and the reserve requirements. Then go to the policy instrument, we have the reserve aggregates, then the interest rates. From the intermediate targets, we have the monetary aggregates and the interest rates. And the goals, like I said earlier, the price stability, the high employment, the economic growth, and the financial market stability, the interest rate stability, the foreign exchange market stability. Here is the figure 3. Figure 3 contains the supply and demand diagram for the market for reserves. So it is the result of targeting in non-borrowed reserves. Targeting on non-borrowed reserves of NBR will lead to fluctuations and in the federal funds rate between IF and IFF because of fluctuation in demand for reserves between R and the RD. So here are the steps. Step 1, a rightward or leftward shift in the demand core for reserves. Then step 2, this is leads to fluctuations in the federal funds rate between the IFF and the IFF cent. So these are the quantity of reserves to the federal funds rate. In figure 4, the supply and demand shows the consequences of an interest target rate. So here is the figure 4, the result of targeting on the federal funds rate. Step 1 is the rightward or the leftward shift in the demand curve for reserves. Step 2 leads the central bank to shift the supply curve of reserves so that the federal rate does not change. The step 3 with the result that non-borrowed reserves fluctuate between NBRF and NBRFF. Here, the criteria for choosing the policy instrument. There are 3 criteria in choosing the policy instrument. First, we have the observability and measurability. Second is a controllability, and the third is a predictable effect and goals. First, we have the observability and measurability. It is the quick observability and accurate measurement of a policy instrument are important to signaling the policy stance rapidly. Second is a controllability. Central bank must be able to have effective control over the policy instrument. Example is the variable, to ensure that the variable stays on target if it gets off track. Third last is a predictable effect on goals. This is the critical to the usefulness of the policy instrument. Hence is the most important characteristics of a policy instrument.